The stars had always been quiet. For thousands of years, the Valoran Empire had conquered world after world, without any real challenge. They were the strongest civilization in the known galaxy. Their ships were massive, their weapons could destroy entire planets. No species had ever stood against them and survived. So when their long-range sensors detected radio signals coming from a small blue planet in a distant arm of the galaxy, they did not feel fear. They felt excitement. Another world to add to their empire, another species to enslave or destroy. High Commander Draven stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Shadow. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 eyes that glowed a soft red color. Behind him, 11 other massive warships floated in formation. Each ship carried enough firepower to burn a continent. Together, they were unstoppable. "Tell me about this world," Draven said to his science officer. "The planet is called Earth by its inhabitants, High Commander. It is the 3rd planet from its star. Mostly water. One dominant species. They call themselves humans." Draven made a sound that was almost like a laugh. "Humans. What do we know about them?" "They are weak, High Commander. Their bodies are soft. They have no natural weapons. No claws, no armor. They cannot survive in space without machines. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. They have only just begun to explore their own solar system." "Then this will be easy," Draven said. "Send the message. Tell them to surrender or die." The communication officer worked quickly at his station. Within minutes, a message was speeding toward Earth at faster than light speed. It would arrive hours before the fleet itself. On Earth, it was a normal Tuesday morning when everything changed. Admiral Yuna was eating breakfast in her small apartment in Seoul when her phone rang. She was 62 years old, with short gray hair and eyes that had seen many things. She had served in the military for 40 years. She had fought in wars. She had lost friends. She had won battles that seemed impossible. But nothing had prepared her for the call she received that morning. "Admiral, you need to come to the command center immediately," the voice said. "We have received a transmission from space." Yuna put down her coffee cup. Her hand did not shake. "I will be there in 20 minutes, she said. When she arrived at the Global Defense Command Center, the room was filled with nervous energy. Officers from every country on Earth were present, either in person or on screens. They all looked scared, all except Yuna. "Show me," she said simply. The main screen lit up with the alien message. The voice that spoke was cold and mechanical, translated into every human language simultaneously. "Creatures of Earth, you have been noticed by the Valoran Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. You will surrender all resources. You will surrender all technology. You will surrender yourselves. Resistance is death. You have 12 of your hours to respond." The room fell silent. Someone was crying softly in the corner. A general from Europe was praying under his breath. The President of the United States looked like he might be sick, but Yuna just stared at the screen with calm eyes. "How many ships?" she asked. 12, Admiral. Each one is approximately 5 kilometers long. They carry weapons that our scientists cannot even understand. They will arrive in approximately 18 hours. "Then we have time," Yuna said. Everyone stared at her like she was crazy. "Time for what?" the American president asked. "You heard them. We cannot fight this. We cannot win. Maybe if we surrender, they will show mercy." Yuna turned to face the room. Her voice was quiet but strong. "I have studied the old records, the secret files that only a few people know about. This is not the first time Earth has been visited by aliens who wanted to conquer us." The room became very still. "What are you talking about?" someone asked. "There have been others," Yuna continued. 17 times in Earth's history, alien civilizations have come to our world with plans to conquer it. 17 times, they have arrived with their ships and their weapons and their demands. And 17 times, they have disappeared. Every single one of them. No battles were recorded. No wars were fought. They simply came to Earth, and then they were never seen again. "That is impossible," a scientist said. We would know. There would be evidence. The evidence is hidden, Yuna said. Because we do not understand it ourselves. We only know that it happens. Something protects this world. Something old. Something powerful. Something that does not like visitors who come with bad intentions. The room erupted in arguments. Some people believed her. Most did not. They thought she was lying or crazy, or both. But Yuna did not care what they thought. She knew the truth. What do we do? Asked General Park, one of the few people in the room who trusted her. We send a response, Yuna said. We warn them. We give them a chance to leave. If they do not listen, then we wait. And we watch. She walked to the communication station and nodded at the young officer sitting there. His name was Tae-ho, and his hands were shaking as he prepared to send humanity's response to the stars. What should I say, Admiral? He asked. Yuna thought for a moment. Then she spoke clearly. This is Admiral Yuna of Earth. We have received your message. We will not surrender. We cannot surrender. Not because we are brave. Not because we are strong. But because surrender will not save you. Turn back now. Leave this system. Others have come before you with the same demands. They did not leave. Their ships still drift in the darkness beyond our moon. Go home. This is not a threat. This is a warning. Earth is not unprotected. Tae-ho sent the message. Then everyone waited. In the cold void of space, High Commander Draven received Earth's response. He read it twice. Then he laughed so hard that his officers became worried. They threaten us? He said between laughs. These weak little creatures dare to threaten the Valoran Empire? Oh, this is wonderful. This is the best day I have had in years. Should we turn back? High Commander? One of his officers asked nervously. Draven's laughter stopped. His 4 eyes narrowed. Turn back? No. We go forward. Faster. I want to see the look on their faces when we burn their cities. I want to hear them beg, and I want to know what happened to those other fleets they mentioned. If there truly is something powerful protecting Earth, then I will destroy it. Nothing stands against the Valoran Empire. The 12 ships increased their speed. In 16 hours, they would reach Earth. On the blue planet below, Admiral Yuna stood at her window and looked up at the stars. She could not see the alien ships yet, but she knew they were coming. She felt sad for them, truly sad. Because she had read the old records, she had seen the photographs of the ships that still floated dead in space. She had read the descriptions of what was found inside. Whatever protected Earth, it was not kind. It was not gentle. It showed no mercy to those who came with violence in their hearts. I tried to warn you, she whispered to the stars. I really did. The Valoran fleet moved through space like a swarm of angry insects. 12 ships, each one larger than any city on Earth, traveling faster than light toward the small blue planet that had dared to reject their demands. High Commander Draven stood at the front of his bridge, watching the stars blur past. How long until we arrive? He asked. 14 hours, High Commander, his navigation officer replied. Good. I want all weapons ready. I want every soldier prepared. When we reach Earth, we will show them what happens to those who resist. But even as Draven spoke with confidence, there was a small voice in the back of his mind. A voice that wondered about the warning the humans had sent. Others have come before you. They did not leave. What did that mean? The Valoran Empire had records of every civilization in the galaxy. They knew about every war, every conquest, every defeat, but there was nothing in their records about anyone attacking Earth before. Search our historical database, Draven ordered. Find any information about previous expeditions to this Earth system. His officers worked quickly. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Finally, the science officer approached with a confused look on his face. High Commander, I have found something strange, he said. There are mentions of Earth in very old records, records that are thousands of years old. What do they say? They say that Earth was marked as forbidden. A world not to be approached. A world to be avoided. But the records do not say why. The reasons have been deleted or lost. Draven felt a chill run through his body. He had lived for 300 years. He had conquered hundreds of worlds. He had never felt afraid. But something about this felt wrong. "Is there anything else?" he asked. "Yes, High Commander. I found a partial record from a species called the Vex. They lived 12,000 years ago. They were powerful. Almost as powerful as we are now. According to this record, they sent a fleet of 100 ships to Earth. And what happened?" The science officer looked at his screen. His hands were shaking slightly. "Nothing, High Commander. There is no record of what happened. The fleet left. And then there is nothing. No battle reports. No victory announcement. No defeat. The entire Vex civilization collapsed 200 years later, and all their records were lost. But one thing remains in the fragments we have found." "What is it?" "A warning. Just 3 words. Do not go." Draven was silent for a long moment. Around him, his officers exchanged nervous glances. They had never seen their commander hesitate before. Then Draven laughed. It was a forced laugh, hard and cold. "Old stories," he said. "Legends. The Vex were weak. They probably fled from Earth and were too ashamed to admit it. We are not the Vex. We are the Valoran Empire. We do not run from primitive worlds. Back on Earth, the hours pass slowly." Admiral Yuna had not slept. She stood in the command center, surrounded by screens showing the approaching alien fleet. The whole world knew now. The secret could not be kept. Billions of people looked up at the sky and waited for the end. But Yuna was not waiting for the end. She was waiting for something else. General Park approached her with a cup of tea. He was an old friend, one of the few people she trusted completely. "You should rest," he said. "I cannot rest," Yuna replied. "Not until this is over. Do you truly believe we will survive this? Do you truly believe in these old records you mentioned?" Yuna took the tea and held it in her hands. The warmth felt good. "I do not believe, General. I know. I have seen things that I cannot explain. I have read reports that should not exist. When I was young, I was part of a team that found one of the old ships." Park's eyes went wide. "You never told me this. I was ordered never to speak of it. But now, what does it matter? In a few hours, either we will all be dead, or the whole galaxy will know the truth." "What did you find?" Yuna closed her eyes. Even after 40 years, the memory was fresh and terrible. The ship was ancient. It had been drifting beyond Mars for thousands of years. We brought it back to Earth in secret. We opened it. Inside, we found the crew. They were not human. Of course, they were something else. Something that had come to conquer Earth long before humans even existed. Were they dead? They were. Empty. Their bodies were there, perfect, untouched. But their minds were gone. Their brains were smooth, like clay that had never been shaped. Whatever made them who they were had been removed, taken. And on the walls of the ship, written in their own blood, were words in a language that took us years to translate. What did the words say? Yuna opened her eyes. They were filled with something that might have been fear or might have been wonder. "It sees us. It knows us. It is coming." Park was silent for a long time. Then he asked the question that everyone wanted to ask. "What is it? What protects Earth?" "We do not know," Yuna admitted. "We have theories. Some scientists think it is something living in our oceans. Something old. Something that evolved on Earth billions of years before any other life. Some think it is not alive at all. That it is some kind of natural force. A defense mechanism built into the planet itself. And some think..." She stopped. "What?" Park pressed. "What do some think?" "Some think it is us. That humans have something inside us. Something we do not know about. Something that activates when our planet is threatened. Something powerful enough to destroy entire fleets without firing a single weapon." In space, the Valoran fleet crossed the orbit of Neptune. They were getting close now. Soon they would be able to see Earth with their own eyes. High Commander Draven had pushed his doubts aside. He was a conqueror. He did not have room for fear. But he had given one order that he had never given before on any mission. All ships, maintain constant communication, he commanded. Every 30 seconds, each ship will report its status. If any ship fails to report, the others will investigate immediately. It was a precaution. Just a precaution. There was nothing to worry about. The fleet passed Saturn, its beautiful rings glowing in the light of the distant sun. They passed Jupiter, with its great red storm spinning endlessly. They passed Mars, the small red planet that humans dreamed of colonizing one day. And then they saw Earth. It was beautiful. Blue and green and white, spinning slowly in the darkness. Draven understood why the humans loved their world. It was lovely. It would make a wonderful addition to the Empire. All ships, take position around the planet, Draven ordered. Surround it completely. I want no escape routes for any human vessel. The 12 ships spread out, forming a ring around Earth. Their weapons powered up. Their targeting systems locked onto cities around the world. Millions of humans looked up and saw the shadows of the alien ships blocking out the sun. On the surface, Admiral Yuna watched on her screen as the fleet completed its formation. Tejo stood beside her, pale and scared, but refusing to leave his post. They are in position, he reported. They have surrounded us. Yuna nodded slowly. Yes, they have. Should we prepare for evacuation? Should we try to fight? Yuna shook her head. No. Now we wait. It will not be long. High Commander Draven prepared to give the order to fire. His finger hovered over the command button. In seconds, he would begin the destruction of human civilization. But then, one of his officers spoke. High Commander, Ship 7 has not reported. Draven frowned. What? Ship 7. They missed their 30-second check-in. They have not responded to our calls. Draven turned to look at his screen. Ship 7 was on the far side of Earth, out of direct visual range. Its signal was showing, but there was no response. Send a scout, Draven ordered. Find out what is happening. Before the order could be carried out, another officer spoke. His voice was trembling. High Commander, Ship 3 has also gone silent. And then, from somewhere in the fleet, someone began to scream. The screaming lasted only a few seconds. Then there was silence. Complete, terrible silence. High Commander Draven stood frozen on his bridge, his 4 eyes wide with confusion and the first touch of real fear. Report, he shouted. Someone tell me what is happening. His officers worked frantically at their stations, but their faces were pale. Their hands shook. The readings on their screens made no sense. Ship 3 is offline, High Commander. Ship 7 is offline. Ship 11 just went offline. We are receiving no signals from them. No communications, nothing. Are they destroyed? Did the humans attack? No, High Commander. That is the strange part. Our sensors show the ships are still there. They are intact. They are not damaged. But they are not responding. Draven felt cold. Colder than he had ever felt in his 300 years of life. Show me Ship 3, on visual. The main screen changed. It showed Ship 3 floating in space, just a few thousand kilometers from Earth. The ship looked normal. Its lights were on. Its engines were still running. But it was drifting, moving slowly off course like a boat with no one at the wheel. Zoom in on the bridge, Draven ordered. The screen zoomed closer. Through the transparent viewing windows of Ship 3's bridge, Draven could see the crew. They were at their stations. They were sitting in their chairs, but they were not moving, not one of them. They sat perfectly still, like statues made of flesh. What is this? Draven whispered. What is happening to them? Before anyone could answer, another officer screamed. It was a young female, working at the communications station. She ripped off her headset and threw it across the room. There is something in the transmission, she cried. Something in the signal. I heard it. It spoke to me. Draven rushed to her side. What did it say? What did you hear? The officer was crying now, tears running down her gray face. It said, it has been waiting. It said, it has been so hungry. It said, thank you for coming. Draven grabbed her shoulders. What does that mean? Who was speaking? But the officer could not answer. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and she collapsed to the floor. She was still breathing, but when Draven looked into her eyes, there was nothing there. No intelligence. No awareness. Just emptiness. Medical team to the bridge, Draven shouted. But even as he gave the order, he knew it would not help. Whatever had happened to her was not something medicine could fix. On Earth, Admiral Yuna watched the chaos unfold on her screens. The alien fleet was falling apart. One by one, ships went dark. Not destroyed, just empty, like machines with no one inside to operate them. What is happening up there? General Park asked. He was standing beside her, watching with a mixture of horror and wonder. It is happening, Yuna said quietly. Just like before. Just like all the times before. Teho looked at the screens with wide eyes. He was young. He had joined the military to protect his country, to protect his world. He had never expected anything like this. Are we doing this? He asked. Is this some secret weapon? No, Yuna said. This is not us. This is something else. Something that was here before us. Something that will be here long after we are gone. In space, High Commander Draven made a decision. He had not conquered 1,000 worlds by being stupid. He knew when a battle was lost. All ships, retreat, he ordered. Full speed, get us out of here. But when his pilot tried to engage the engines, nothing happened. The ship did not move. The controls were not responding. High Commander, we are stuck. Something is holding us in place. Draven ran to the window and looked out at the stars. For a moment, he saw nothing strange. Just space. Just Earth floating below. Just his fleet drifting silently. And then he saw it. It was hard to describe. It was like looking at darkness itself. Like looking at the space between stars. Except this darkness was moving. It was flowing around the ships like water flowing around stones in a river. It was everywhere and nowhere. It had no shape, but somehow Draven knew it was alive. What are you? He whispered. The darkness answered. Not with words, but with feelings. Images. Memories that were not his own. Draven saw civilizations rising and falling. He saw species that had lived and died millions of years before his people even existed. He saw Earth, young and fresh, covered in boiling oceans and erupting volcanoes. And he saw something else, something ancient, something that had been born in the heart of that young world and had grown with it over billions of years. It was not evil. It was not good. It was beyond such simple ideas. It was a guardian, a protector. It did not hate the aliens who came to conquer Earth. It simply stopped them, the way a human might stop an ant from crawling onto their food, without anger, without mercy. Just a simple action to prevent something unwanted. Please, Draven said. He had never begged in his entire life. Please let us go. We will leave. We will never return. The darkness considered his words. Draven felt it looking into his mind, reading his thoughts, seeing every terrible thing he had ever done, every world he had burned, every species he had enslaved, every innocent life he had taken without a second thought. And then, slowly, the darkness began to answer. No. The word echoed in Draven's mind like thunder. It was not angry. It was not cruel. It was simply final. A decision that could not be changed. You came here with violence in your hearts. You came here to destroy, to conquer, to kill. I have watched your kind for eons. I have seen what you do to the worlds you touch. You spread like a disease, consuming everything, leaving nothing behind but ash and tears. Draven tried to speak, but his voice would not work. I did not ask to be the guardian of this world. I did not choose this task. But it is mine. And I will perform it. The creatures of Earth are under my protection. They do not know I exist. They have never asked for my help. But they are mine, my children, my responsibility. On the bridge, Draven's officers were collapsing one by one. They fell to the floor, their eyes empty, their minds gone. Whatever was happening, it was spreading through the ship like a silent plague. I will take what makes you who you are. Your memories, your thoughts, your identity. Everything that lives inside your minds will become part of me. You will not suffer. You will simply stop being, and your ships will drift here forever, as a warning to others who might think to threaten this world. Draven fell to his knees. He could feel it starting. Feel his memories beginning to fade. His childhood. His first command. His victories. His defeats. They were slipping away like sand through his fingers. I was a conqueror, he whispered. Trying to hold on to something. Anything. I was High Commander Draven. Of the Valoran Empire. He could not remember what he was. On Earth, Admiral Yuna watched as the last of the alien ships went dark. The entire fleet, 12 massive warships that had seemed unstoppable just hours ago, now drifted silently around the planet, dead machines with empty crews. It is over, she said. General Park let out a breath he had been holding. We survived. Again. Yes, Yuna agreed, but there was no celebration in her voice. No joy. Just a quiet sadness. She had read the old reports. She knew what had happened to the crews of those ships. They had not been killed in any normal sense. They had been erased, taken, and some part of her felt sorry for them. Even monsters deserved to be remembered. Teho was crying. Not from fear, but from relief. He had been so sure he was going to die. So sure that everyone he loved was going to die. And now, somehow, they were safe. What do we do now? He asked. We do what we always do, Yuna said. We go on living. We keep this secret. We hope that someday we will understand what protects us. And we pray that whatever it is, it continues to see us as worth protecting. Outside, the sun rose over Seoul. A new day was beginning. The people of Earth did not know how close they had come to destruction. They did not know about the ancient guardian watching over them from somewhere deep and dark. They simply woke up, went to work, and lived their lives. And somewhere in the depths of Earth's oldest ocean, in a place no light had ever touched, something vast and patient and impossibly old settled back into its long sleep. It had done its duty. Its children were safe. For now, 3 months passed after the Valoran fleet went silent. News of the failed invasion spread across the galaxy like wildfire. At first, no one believed it. The Valoran Empire was the most powerful force known to exist. They had never lost a battle. They had never failed to conquer a world. But now, 12 of their greatest ships floated dead around a small blue planet that most civilizations had never even heard of. The Galactic Council met an emergency session. Representatives from 200 species gathered on the station called Peace Point, arguing and debating and trying to understand what had happened. Rumors spread fast. Some said Earth had a secret weapon. Some said the Valorans had made a mistake. Some said it was all a lie. But there was one way to find the truth. Someone had to go to Earth and see for themselves. Investigator Hana was chosen for the mission. She was human, one of the few humans who worked for the Galactic Council. She was also one of the best investigators they had. She found truth where others found only confusion. She saw patterns where others saw only chaos. She was also terrified. You want me to go back to Earth? She asked the Council. To investigate my own homeworld? You are the logical choice, said the Council chair, a tall being with silver skin and no eyes. You understand humans. You can navigate their society, and you have clearance to access the quarantine zone where the Valoran ships are located. The ships are under quarantine? They have been since the incident. No one goes near them. No one knows what happened to the crews. If anyone can find out, it is you. No. Round. Hana wanted to refuse. Something deep inside her screamed that this was a bad idea, that she should stay as far from Earth as possible. But she was an investigator. Finding truth was her purpose, and the truth about what happened to the Valoran fleet was the biggest mystery in the galaxy. I will go, she said. The journey to Earth took 3 days. Hana spent most of that time reading reports about the failed invasion. The reports were confusing and incomplete. Communications from the Valoran fleet had cut off suddenly. Sensors showed no battle, no weapons fire, nothing that could explain how 12 warships had been disabled in minutes. When her ship arrived at Earth, Hana felt a strange emotion. She had left this world 20 years ago to work for the Council. She had rarely thought about it since, but now, seeing the blue and green sphere floating in space, she felt something she could not name. A connection. A pulling. Like the planet was calling her home. This is Investigator Hana requesting permission to enter the quarantine zone, she said into her communicator. A voice responded. It was Admiral Yuna, the woman who had led Earth's defense during the invasion. Her voice was calm and tired. Permission granted, Investigator. I will meet you on the lead ship, the Eternal Shadow. That was the flagship of the fleet commander. Hana guided her small ship toward the massive Valoran warship. Even dead and drifting, it was impressive. 5 kilometers of metal and weapons and technology that should have been able to destroy any planet. But now, it was just a tomb. Admiral Yuna was waiting in the docking bay when Hana arrived. The older woman looked like she had not slept in months. There were dark circles under her eyes and gray in her hair that had not been there in the photos Hana had seen. Thank you for coming, Yuna said. I hope you can find answers. We have none. You were here during the invasion, Hana said. What did you see? Yuna was quiet for a moment. We saw the ships take position around Earth. We saw them prepare to fire. And then, one by one, they went silent. No explosions, no battles, just silence. It was over in less than an hour. And the crews? Yuna's face became very still. Come. I will show you. They walked through the corridors of the Eternal Shadow. The ship still had power. The lights still worked. The air was still breathable. Everything looked normal. Except for the bodies. The first crew member Hana saw was sitting at a console near the door. He was Valoran, gray-skinned and four-eyed like all his kind. He was sitting perfectly upright, his hands resting on the controls. His eyes were open. He looked like he was waiting for orders. But when Hana looked closer, she saw the truth. His eyes were empty. Not just dead, but empty. There was no awareness there. No spark of life. Nothing that suggested this had ever been a person with thoughts and feelings and dreams. They are all like this, Yuna said. Every single one. 3,000 crew members on this ship alone. All sitting at their stations. All empty. What killed them? Hana asked. That is the thing, Yuna said. They are not dead. Not in any way we can measure. Their hearts are still beating. Their lungs are still breathing. Their bodies are functioning perfectly, but there is no one home. Whatever made them who they were is gone. Hana felt cold. She had seen many terrible things in her years as an investigator. She had seen the aftermath of wars and plagues and disasters. But she had never seen anything like this. This was not death. This was erasure. They reached the bridge of the Eternal Shadow. High Commander Draven was there, sitting in his command chair. Like all the others, his body was alive, but his mind was gone. His 4 eyes stared at nothing. We found records, Yuna said. Partial records from the ship's systems. They show what happened in the final moments before the crews went silent. She led Hana to a console and activated the playback. The screen showed the bridge during the attack. Officers were panicking, screaming, pointing at something outside the windows. But when Hana looked at where they were pointing, she saw only space, only darkness. They were seeing something, Hana said. Something we cannot see in this recording. Yes, Yuna agreed. Whatever it was, it did not show up on any sensors. But they could see it. They were terrified of it. The recording continued. One by one, the officers collapsed. They did not fall over dead. They simply stopped. Stopped moving. Stopped thinking. Their eyes went empty. And they became the statues that Hana now saw all around her. The last to fall was High Commander Draven. The recording showed him on his knees, his mouth moving. He was saying something. But the audio was corrupted. Then his eyes went empty, and he slumped back into his chair. We have analyzed his lip movements, Yuna said. We think he was saying something like, I was what? Hana asked. We do not know. The sentence was never finished. Hana stood in silence, looking at the empty shell that had once been one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. She thought about all the worlds he had conquered, all the lives he had destroyed, and now he sat here, forgotten, unable to even remember his own name. There is one more thing, Yuna said. She led Hana to a wall near the back of the bridge. Something was written there in a strange, dark substance. It looked like burned metal, as if someone had written with fire itself. What does it say? Hana asked. It took us weeks to translate. The language is old. Older than any language in the Galactic Council's records. We had to use fragments from ancient archaeological sites. Ruins from civilizations that died millions of years ago. Hana waited. Yuna read the words slowly. You came to take. You came to destroy. You came to conquer. But this world has a keeper. This world has a guardian. And the guardian does not allow such things. Go now. Go forever. And tell the stars what you have seen. Tell them Earth is protected. Tell them the children of Earth will never fall. Hana stared at the words. Her heart was beating fast. Her hands were shaking. She had been born on Earth. She had played in its oceans as a child. She had breathed its air and walked on its land. And she had never known, never suspected. What is protecting us? She asked. Yuna shook her head. We do not know. We have theories, but no proof. All we know is that it is old. Very old. And it considers humanity worth protecting. Hana looked back at the empty bridge. At the bodies that breathed but did not live. At the words burned into the wall. This changes everything, she whispered. Yes, Yuna agreed. It does. Investigator Hana spent 2 more weeks on the Velaran ships, searching for answers. She examined every console. She read every log. She interviewed every human scientist who had studied the fleet, but in the end, she was left with more questions than answers. When she returned to Peace Point, the Galactic Council was waiting. 200 species wanted to know the truth about Earth. 200 species wanted to know what had destroyed the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Hana stood before them and gave her report. The Valoran fleet was not destroyed, she said. It was emptied. The crews are alive in body but dead in mind. Their memories, their personalities, their identities have been completely removed. They are shells. Nothing more. The council murmured in confusion and fear. What weapon did the humans use? Asked the representative from the Torak Empire. We demand to know. We demand they share this technology with the council. The humans did not do this, Hana said. They have no weapon capable of such an effect. They have no technology that could explain what happened. They are as confused as we are. Then who? Who destroyed the Valoran fleet? Hana took a deep breath. Something else. Something that has existed on Earth for billions of years. Something that was there before humans evolved. Something that considers Earth and its inhabitants under its protection. The council erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted and argued. Some called Hana a liar. Some demanded proof. Some simply sat in stunned silence. The council chair finally restored order. Investigator Hana, are you saying that Earth is protected by some kind of ancient being? Some kind of guardian? Yes, Hana said. That is exactly what I am saying. This is not the first time aliens have tried to conquer Earth. According to old records we found, at least 17 civilizations have attempted invasion over the past 100,000 years. None of them succeeded. None of them survived. Their ships are still drifting in Earth's solar system. Their crews are all the same. Alive but empty. Erased. The representative from the Valoran Empire stood up. His face was twisted with rage. This is impossible. The Valorans are the greatest power in the galaxy. We cannot be defeated by some invisible monster. And yet you were. Hana said calmly. 12 ships. 36,000 soldiers. All gone in less than an hour. Not one weapon was fired. Not one shot was returned. Whatever protects Earth, it did not even consider your fleet a threat. It simply removed you like dust from a shelf. The Valoran representative had no response. He sat down slowly, his anger turning to fear. On Earth, Admiral Yuna watched the council meeting on her screen. Teho stood beside her, along with General Park and a small group of trusted officers. They had known this day would come. The day when the galaxy would learn the truth about Earth. What happens now? Teho asked. Now they are afraid of us, Yuna said. Or rather, they are afraid of whatever protects us. They will not attack Earth again. Not for a very long time. Is that good? Yuna thought about the question. I do not know. Fear is a powerful thing. It can make allies into enemies. It can make peace into war. But for now, we are safe. And perhaps that is enough. General Park stepped forward. There is something else, Admiral. Something we have not shared with the Galactic Council. Yuna nodded. She had been waiting for this moment. Park activated a holographic display. It showed Earth from space, but not the Earth of today. This was Earth from 4 billion years ago, when the planet was young and violent. Volcanoes erupted everywhere. Meteors fell from the sky. The oceans boiled with heat. Our scientists have been studying the Guardian for years, Park said, using old records, geological data, and careful observation. They believe they know what it is. The display changed. It showed the deep ocean, far below where any light could reach. And there, in the darkness, was something vast. Something that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Something that pulsed with a faint, ancient energy. It is alive, Park said. Or at least, it was alive once. It evolved in Earth's first oceans, billions of years before any other life existed. It grew. It spread. It became something more than flesh and blood. It became connected to the planet itself, to the magnetic field, to the core, to everything that makes Earth what it is. A planetary organism, Yuna said softly. Earth is not just our home. Earth is alive. And it protects its children. Teho stared at the display with wide eyes. Does it know about us? Does it care about us? We do not know, Park admitted. It has never communicated with us directly. It has never shown itself to us. We only know it exists because of what happens when someone threatens Earth. It wakes up, it deals with the threat, and then it goes back to sleep. Like an immune system, Yuna said. We are cells in its body. When a virus attacks, the immune system responds. It does not ask the cells for permission. It simply protects. The display faded. The room was silent. Back at Peace Point, Investigator Hana was finishing her report. I have one final observation, she said. During my investigation, I spoke with many humans. Scientists. Soldiers. Ordinary citizens. None of them knew about the Guardian. None of them understood what protected them. They lived their lives in complete ignorance of the ancient force watching over them. Why does that matter? The council chair asked. Because it tells us something important, Hana said. The Guardian does not protect Earth because humans are powerful. It does not protect them because they have technology or weapons or resources. It protects them simply because they are there. Because they are part of Earth. Because they belong to it. She paused, looking around the great chamber. Perhaps that is the lesson we should take from this. The Valoran Empire conquers because they believe might makes right. They believe power is everything. But Earth is protected by something that values existence itself. Something that does not care about power or conquest or empire. Something that simply wants its children to live and grow and be. The council was quiet. For the first time in a very long time, no one argued. No one shouted. They simply listened. My recommendation, Hannah concluded, is that we leave Earth alone. Not because we fear its guardian, although we should, but because Earth and its people deserve to develop on their own, to find their own path among the stars. They have something special, something worth protecting, and I believe that if we approach them with respect instead of violence, we might learn something valuable from them. Months later, the Galactic Council voted to declare Earth a protected world. No civilization was allowed to approach it with hostile intent. No military vessels were permitted within its solar system. Earth was placed under the highest level of protection the Council could offer. But the humans never knew about the vote. They never knew that the entire galaxy now feared and respected them. They simply continued living their lives, unaware of the ancient guardians sleeping beneath their oceans. Admiral Yuna retired to a small house by the sea. Every evening, she walked along the beach and looked out at the water. Sometimes, late at night, she thought she could feel something looking back at her. Something old. Something patient. Something that had been watching over her and every human who had ever lived. Thank you, she whispered to the waves, for protecting us, for keeping us safe. I do not know if you can hear me. I do not know if you even care. But thank you. The ocean did not respond. But far below, in the darkness where no light had ever reached, something vast and ancient stirred slightly in its endless sleep. It had heard, and somewhere, in a way that humans could not understand, it was pleased. Earth's children were safe, the guardians were watching, and any who came to threaten them would meet the same fate as all who had come before. They would surround Earth with armadas, and none of them would ever be seen again.